more money. 25 ways to make more money. Now, step number one, we've talked about how you make more money with your job or your small business. Now, your small business, if it's really small and you're working in it, that's basically your job. Step six is really key. We've got to create that small business and turn it into a large business. So that's why we want to talk about that. And there's 25 different ways that you can make more money either in your job or in your business. And we're going to talk about those right now. But in order to get to those, what I want you to do is we're going to go to the website. So we're going to pop out here and we're going to go to the Success and Money Foundation. .org. Go to number 3, which is the free books and courses. We have hundreds and hundreds of books and classes here. So we're going to pull it down to 3.5, which is the free books. I'm going
You're
to
not
pop over
sharing
here.
your screen though.
Well,
There
that
you go.
doesn't. All right. So here we go right now. So we're going to go to successmoneyfoundation.org. And then we're going to go to number 3, which is the free courses. We're going to pull it down to 3.5, which is the free books and the teacher parent tools. We're going to come over to free books under 3.5, and then it's going to pull up all the different free books. Now I'm going to pop into to one of our big books, which is the Success and Money Habits. We're going to click on that one right there. And so we're going to go to page 138, and we're going to go pretty deep into the 25 ways to make more money. Okay, so that's step number 6. And we're going to pop into page 138. Give me a second here. Here we go. Now, a lot of this material is from stuff that I've learned over many, many years. And it's also stuff I've learned from mentors. So we're going to go to page 138 here. 25 ways to make more money. And I want to thank Mr. Steve Gibson. He is the co-founder with his wife Betty of the program Academy for Creating Enterprise, which is a wonderful, wonderful program. And we're going to go through the 25 ways to make more money, which is found right there in that book. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of fun. We're going to do a little bit of doodling. And this is kind of where we're going to find it. So we're going to talk about the 25 ways to make more money. And you do this with your job or you do this with your business. So number 1 way to make more money is that we need to figure out how we're going to start small, but think big. Okay, so start small and think big. What does that all mean? Well, you think about Donald Trump. What does Donald Trump say? Donald Trump says, if you're going to think, you might as well think big. And it's easier to do big projects than it is to do little projects. I do better with big decisions than little decisions. Little decisions drive me nuts. I like to do big stuff. When my wife and I were fixing up houses, I would paint the wall, the big part of the wall, and she'd do the detail. Okay. I wanted to think big. I wanted to see the big things. And it's not any harder to do a big thing than a small thing. So start small. And then I want you to think big. Number 2 is to sell what people will buy. So this is all about research, and you get it down to math. We want to get this down to mathematical. What are the things that people will buy? Well, a lot of times when you're selling 20, 30 items, you don't know what they're buying. You're just covering all these things. And we have them all out there. Now, the McDonald's brothers were very famous for doing the McDonald's. They created one, but they had all these different items. And then one day, one of the brothers did a lot of math and says, we're selling only 7 items. 7 items are 87% of our sales. And they got rid of the other stuff and concentrated on the things that they do well and that they can do fast. And that's how they created a system. And then Ray Kroc came in and figured out how to take it up to that next level. The number 3 is the focus. We want you to focus, 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 focus. You can chase a whole bunch of rabbits later. What we want to do is let's chase a handful of rabbits right now. But I want you to focus, focus, focus on where you're going. Don't get distracted. I don't want you chasing a whole bunch of things. Steve Jobs was famous for this at Apple. He would get his 100 top people, and he says, if we had to recreate the company, here's the 100 people that I would do it with. And they would brainstorm all the things that they could build. And then they would number them how important they were, and they would get rid of a bunch of them, and they ended up with three. We want to be the best in the world in these three items. And they concentrated on those three items instead of chasing things that weren't going to be a part of those three items. And that's how they did that with it. Okay. Now suggestive selling. You go through the drive-through and you order, and they says, "Would you like to biggie size that?" It's, oh, yeah, sure. Some will say yes, some will say no. We don't care what they say. We just want to make sure we ask the question. We're suggesting a better solution. If there's three items for sale, one is $3, one's $5, and one's $6, and the smallest is three, the medium's five, and the large is six, more people will pick the six. And the organization makes more on that because they're suggesting of what you can do there. Number five, keep your personal money and your business money separate. This is crucial because you are commingling funds and you don't know how well you're doing and what it's doing. I love making mathematical decisions. I hate making emotional decisions. Now, emotion comes into part of it, but the key is to have the ability to make a mathematical decision. And you do that by separating your company from your personal. When your personal does make money, then they can pay you some kind of a distribution or a salary. But the key is keep them separate. You don't commingle them or you won't know what's working. Number six, pay yourself a livable wage. That's wonderful if you can do it, but sometimes you've got to work harder, faster. The way you get a higher wage is to get your business rolling and making more money. Step six, add real estate. Add a small business and turn it into a large business. You want to make more money, a livable salary? Well, you've got to do more things. You got to sell more. You got to have more clients that buy more often, that buy more every time they buy. Okay, number seven. I love about number seven is to keep good records. Now, why is this so important? Keep good records. Because if you don't know what's selling, you don't know what to offer. And it all comes down to math. It all comes down to math. And we think we know what's selling, but we want to get it so that it's math. I love math. Math tells me what's working and what's not working. And so you've got to keep good records to be able to do that. Some of the biggest stores like Walmart, they did it because they figured out how to find out what people were buying and then provide more of that. Okay, step number eight rule. And again, these are all created from the Academy for Creative Enterprise, Steve Gibson and his group. So I want you to turn your inventory often. You have money that's tied up and you have inventory that's not selling. Your job is to get rid of the stuff that's not selling, find out what's hot, figure out how to get more of what's hot, and sell more of what is actually selling. So we want you to turn your inventory often. And number nine, don't eat your inventory. Okay, some people are eating all their inventory, and that's not what we do. You've got to figure out how to get your business to run as a business. You don't want family and friends just coming in and smooching off you and eating your inventory. Otherwise you won't know what's working in your business. Number 10, continually look for improvements. Every day that you go to your business, you should be saying, how can I make more money? How can I provide a better service? How can I get more clients? How can I get them to buy more? How can I get them to buy more often? How can I do this? And every day you're looking at how can I work on the business and not in the business? Too many people start a small business. Now that's their job and that's all they do. And you're never going to get out of the rut. You're going to just be surviving. We don't want you to survive. We want you to thrive. Okay, buy low and sell high. Buy low and sell high. Number 11, buy low and sell high. That makes it very simple. But when you do the math and you can see what products are selling and what products are not selling, and then you look at the margins, is there any profit in this? How do I really concentrate on the things that are working? And how do I get the distribution out there? Number 12, inspect more and assume less. Inspect more. You want to see what's actually working. And again, you want to turn this to math as much as you can, but you want to inspect things that are working, make sure that they're working. And sometimes the best way to do that is get out there and experience it like you would as a customer. Dave Thomas was the founder of Wendy's, which is a hamburger restaurant, and he would always go through the drive-through and he would get product. He would order product and taste it and make sure it was what the customer was getting. So he did that, and that's how he inspected stuff. He acted like a customer, and then he found out how they did it. Number 13, be nice later. Some people are so worried about offending somebody, but we want you to make it work. Sometimes you just got to draw the line, and you just can't give the stuff away. You've got to get this business to work, and then when it works, you can turn it on autopilot and make it run. So be nice later. Be nice to everybody, but just don't give all your stuff away. Number 14, you need to work on your business, and you need to concentrate on your business, and you need to work it like a maniac. You've got to get this airplane. Your airplane is at the end of the runway, and your airplane has got to get up in the air. So the way you do that is turn on the jets. You want to get this baby running as fast as you can, and sometimes that means you just got to work. Now, we call it working half days, working from 7 to 7, 12 hours a day. And sometimes you've got to do that to get it off the ground. If you're launching a rocket, it expends all of its energy getting up and outside the Earth's atmosphere. But once it gets into space, they say that the breath of a baby can compel it forward. But you got to work on your business and get it off the ground. You got to get it up into space. Okay, make a profit every day. Your goal is to figure out how to make a profit every day. Some people, when I've traveled all over the world, I'd like to talk to cab drivers and how much money do you need to work? How long do you need to work in order to make enough money to survive and to thrive? And they have a number, and they say, I'm going to work and I'm going to keep working until I do this much in business or I make this much profit. And they know how much it is on a daily basis. And so that's why you need to make a profit every day. Now, number 16, value your customer. Now, your customer is not always right, but your customer is always your customer. Your customer is not always right, but your customer is always your customer. And so they may be wrong, but your goal is to make sure that you can find a way to be able to get your customers to be successful and to keep coming back. Number 17 is to hire slow and fire fast. Your job is to get the right people in the right area that wears the right hat. As you build an organization and an organizational chart, this is where you're going to figure out where you want to get those people. Put them on probation. Hey, you're on a 30-day probation. At the end of 30 days, you simply say, hey, we're not going to pick you up. There's some other options of places that we know that might fit what your skill set is better. So you want to hire slow and fire fast. Okay, you got to work on your business, not just in your business. This is a great one. So many people are working in the business. You are the business. And in reality, you've got to work on it. You've got to work it so that if you're not there, it runs. McDonald's is ran by teenagers because systems make it work. So they've worked on the business, figured out how to make it work, and then they duplicated those systems, and everybody does it the same. Number 19, you want to buy on credit, but sell for cash. Now, many of you are going to just start turning your cash, but you can get so much more product if you have the ability to build your credit lines and be able to use that for business. Now, the only time that you're going to borrow money is if it makes you a lot more money. Okay. Real estate. I've made a fortune in real estate because we borrowed money and other people paid me rent that paid back the loans. So I was just the conduit in the middle of it. I had enough rental income coming in, I had debt, and that's how we paid it all off. Business, the only time you're going to borrow money is if it makes you more money. Are you going to borrow money to get a degree to be a piano teacher? No, because it's not going to make enough money to do that. And who is making that money? Who's making the payments? A lot of people buy a house. Great. Glad that you got into some real estate, but who's making the monthly payment? And if you're making the monthly payment, then That's not very good. You want to buy rental units where other people are making those payments for you. Okay, number 20, use multiple suppliers to get the best price. Use multiple suppliers to get the best price. Now, you need to have a network of people that if something happens to one of them, you are not held up and you have other options. You have other options. That's why we want you to have multiple people, multiple suppliers, and be able to get the best price. Number 21 is to purchase in bulk. How do you buy things in bulk? You want to buy them in bulk and then sell them individually if you can, or get a great price in bulk and then push that along to the next one. Marriott Hotels does not own the real estate. Marriott Hotels rent the real estate on a monthly basis, yearly basis, and they re-rent it out on a nightly basis. Then they found they could make even more money if they had a marketing system and people would do the reservations through Marriott, and Marriott took a chunk of every one of those reservations. So they found they make more money not by owning the real estate. They made more money by not managing the real estate. They made more money by managing the reservations. And that's why Marriott has done so well. Uber does not own any cars. Uber does not own any cars. It owns a system that takes a cut off of every connection, as well as Lyft. Amazon does not own that product. Other people own it. Amazon just sells it. Walk into a bookstore. The bookstore does not own that set of books. They just sell them and they make money that way. Okay, number 22, you need to have written agreements. You need to have written agreements. It's amazing what he said, she said. And even the written agreements can be construed in the wrong way. You need to have written agreements. In the way that I always start when I buy real estate is that I sit across the table. I've done this many times. This is how I bought a lot of my real estate, and we doodle out stuff on a piece of paper. Would you take this? No. Would you take that? Would you take something else? And then we doodle it out and we figure out what it looks like. We write it down on a piece of paper. Then we convert it to a form, a purchase agreement that someone else has put all the legalese in. But we start with something simple. Worst case scenario, make sure you get it in a text. That's the worst case scenario. Don't rely on memory. Okay. Don't rely on memory. A sharp pencil is worth a lot more than a sharp mind, if you will. Okay, you got it. Number 23, you need to increase the sales and decrease the cost. Very, very simple. We need to turn on more faucets. We need to increase the sales, do more sales. And at the same time, we need to figure out how to decrease the costs every time that we're doing it. Number 24, let's talk about number 24. We need daily and weekly business goals. You need daily and weekly business goals. What do you want to get done today? What are your targets? And then you chase those targets. You don't make a to-do list and do all the things. What you do is you do the things that are going to make the difference. What are the things that's going to make the biggest impact? And then you line them up. These are my ones. These are the things that are ones. These are twos. These are threes. And I push all my threes to somebody else. I have somebody else do them as much as I can. The 80-20 rule, 20% of what you do gets you 80% of your results. And in many cases, that's even like 5% of what you do gets you 95% of your results. So how much time are you spending in that 5%? Surgeons, the best surgeons do the same surgery over and over and over again, and they become experts at it because they've concentrated on that daily thing that they're doing. Okay, last one, make a difference. Make your business a little bit different from others. You can do that by providing other items. You can do that by adding some bonus items to it. You don't want to be the exact same thing. You want to be something a little bit different. And so make your business a little bit different than what others do. So this is the 25 rules of thumb. These are all part of the Academy for Creative Enterprise. ACE is what you call it. If you search them up, you can go the-academy.org and you can learn more about them. These are wonderful classes they're a nonprofit organization. They have thousands of chapters all over the world, and you can meet face-to-face, toe-to-toe with these people to learn how to grow your businesses. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be right back.